San Quentin Prison. Inmates call it the arena or gladiator school. This massive medieval-like structure is considered impregnable, with 20-foot stone walls and a ring of guard towers manned by crack shots.
San Quentin is bordered on 3 sides by a massive wall. That's in addition to a variety of interior walls within each of the various cell blocks. But on the 4th side, you just have San Francisco Bay, which is believed to be, as was the case at Alcatraz, a natural barrier, a kind of impenetrable, watery barrier, one that would mean almost certain death to any prisoner who thought they could try to swim to safety.
In 1979, one inmate masterminds San Quentin's most ingenious breakout ever. The architect of this bold plan is a 59-year-old bank robber, Forrest Tucker. Forrest Tucker spends decades robbing banks and breaking out of jails. Having escaped from 17 different detention facilities since he was a teen, Forrest Tucker enjoys the growing notoriety of being an escape artist.
So in October of 1978, he was sentenced to San Quentin to serve 10 years.
I mean, the minute he was handcuffed, he was trying to figure out how to escape.
He eventually gets himself assigned to work near the wharf where the workshops are located, a spot on the grounds of San Quentin with much lower oversight. His first step towards freedom is taken. But while Forrest watches what is going on around him, someone is watching Tucker. After all, he's not the only inmate with a thirst for freedom.
John Waller was a lifelong criminal and a self-styled bon vivant, and he was known as a rabbit, and a rabbit is a prisoner who runs.
Burgeoning escape artist John Waller is familiar with the tales of Old Man Tucker. Perhaps the young buck can learn a few tricks from the old dog.
So they just kind of brainstormed and said, how can we get out of here? And he said, well, I know how to build a boat.
But while Tucker is confident in Waller's ability to build a boat, he believes they'll need an extra set of hands to help build and move their escape vessel. Tucker tells Waller they will need someone with an escape-oriented mind and the ability to keep their mouth shut.
William McGurk was a 38-year-old man who had been arrested for armed robbery. He had, in fact, escaped once from prison in 1970, where he and some other inmates had plugged the toilets in a San Francisco jail and walked out during the ensuing aftermath. That's what gets him sent to San Quentin.
William McGurk was an acquaintance or friend of Forrest Tucker. Waller respected Tucker, and when Tucker asked if McGurk could come along, Waller acquiesced to that and said, that's fine, he can come along.
Having established the crew, the 3 men can now focus on the biggest obstacle. How do you build a boat? Waller
Worked in the prison industry's warehouse.
Prisoners that have allowed access to the workshops have unbridled access to all the tools a builder could ask for. The perfect opportunity to repurpose the excess materials without being detected.
We have Waller constructing the boat according to Tucker's plans. Tucker is going back and forth, ferrying different items, and McGurk is keeping his mouth shut.
But McGurk does have an important task: figure out the tides. He manages to steal the tide report for the bay out of the local paper. Studying the ebb and flow of the water, he reports to Tucker that their best window for escape is August 9th, 1979. But McGurk mentions that there is a huge problem with that date. It is also the day the Marin County Yacht Club across the bay will be out in full force for their bathtub regatta. The prisoners will not be alone on the water. They came up with a plan to pretend to be local yacht club members, pilfering supplies to create their yachting outfits. They will paint the boat in the colors of the yacht club and make some jaunty little caps to blend in with the club members. He insists the date is set. And now, August 9th, 1979, a lazy delivery driver has left his truck unguarded at the loading dock to the warehouse. Tucker tells Waller to check, and sure enough, the keys are left right inside a warehouse drawer, just begging to be stolen, or at least repurposed for a 75-foot journey to the Pacific Ocean.
John Waller decided that he would create a blocking maneuver while Tucker and McGurk transported the boat over to the water.
Waller, he steals the keys, gets into the truck, begins driving it slowly towards the water.
Tucker can't believe it. No one would think twice about him walking around a truck with another inmate as they carry some kind of heavy object. It's what they do all day. Incredibly, the plan works.
Tucker and McGurk scurry across with the boat and put it in the water right below guard tower number 4.
McGurk and Tucker stay low and hidden while Waller drives the truck back up, returns the keys, and then casually makes his own way down to the water.
They can't believe it. If it happened in the movies, you wouldn't believe it. But now it's time to answer their next big question. Is the boat seaworthy?
They're frantically paddling. The boat is watertight, but the water was coming over the sides, and they had no means to bail. So they're frantically paddling.
The water is so choppy that the boat begins to take on water and begins to sink.
This is their last choke point in the shipping lane to freedom. And now they have been spotted.
This one guard spotted them from the shore and thinking that it's one of the yachtsmen, sees what's happening.
He asked them if they were okay, and then McGurk, who is really kind of a taciturn, quiet type person who you don't see very much of this, had the greatest line because he looked at his bare wrist, nothing on the wrist, and he looked at the guard hailing them and said, "Everything's okay, my Timex is still running."
As unbelievable as it might sound, it works. The guard assumes they are who they say they are. He radios in to say that, no, these are just some kayakers. They're going to be fine. Goes about his day. Just as they get outside of the San Quentin property line, the boat sinks. They're too heavy. All 3 men desperately cling to the boat and begin kicking furiously, trying to get to shore. The men make it to shore, tired, wet, freezing cold, but now free. They made it as far as they needed to, just outside the wall of San Quentin prison.
Once the "we just got out of jail" adrenaline kicks in, Tucker reverts to his lone wolf personality and turns and runs. Must have been a surprise for the other 2 men, or maybe not. We will never know. But as far as Tucker is concerned, San Quentin has been vanquished. Escape number 18 is in the books. It's time to scram. The 3 men managed to blend in quickly and make their way out of the general area before their escape was uncovered.
So McGurk was captured in October. He was not out very long, obviously, and he was captured in San Rafael near the apartment of his then girlfriend just a couple of months after he escaped. Waller was captured in April of the next year, and he was captured in Gilroy, California, which is maybe about 100 miles from San Quentin.
Despite not having the ringleader captured, the state is embarrassed enough that they go ahead with the trial without Tucker, but with more holes in the state's case against the men than in their kayak. The former escapees are absolved of their crimes after 2 trials end in a hung jury. 20 years after his escape from San Quentin, Forrest Tucker's life of crime comes to an end. He's arrested, and on October 20th, 2000, Forrest Tucker, age 80, pleads guilty to armed robbery and is sentenced to 13 years. Forrest Tucker suffers several strokes while incarcerated. He dies May 29th, 2004, in a Texas prison.